And we are live with episode 8 of the Tempo Shift podcast. And today I have a guest who used to terrorize my Team Fortress 2 games. Um, was one of the most obnoxious scout players to play against. Traded that in for a brighter future in Overwatch. Went on to pretty much win tournaments in every single continent. Put together really an illustrious career that most players would just dream of. A guy who I don't even want to say a support player for the Dallas Fuel. I'd say a flex player for the Dallas Fuel. How are you doing, HarryHook?
Hi everyone, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Awesome. So a lot of stuff to touch on. Not a lot of time. Definitely, obviously, have to talk about the Sigma to a lot of Overwatch news during this break. But I want to kind of touch on the Dallas Fuel first and your year. Kind of recap a little bit and starting at the beginning of the year and your expectations heading into this season, because I checked an interview that you did during the off season, and this was upon the addition of Closer. Obviously, you guys had a relatively disappointing season one, and the roster got adjusted. And in that interview, you mentioned that you didn't expect a lot of playing time heading into this year. So beyond that, what were your expectations in general? What was your plan to become a sort of a better player? Because at that time you said that you actually welcomed the competition. What was sort of the expectation? How do you feel like personally? What were your personal goals heading into the year?
I mean, honestly, I don't have any so far. I'm not playing any scrim anyway, or barely playing at all. So I'm just trying to fit as my role as staff player, and that's it.
hmm So at the beginning of like season one, you guys obviously had a trio where you also mentioned it was very messy, and I think just the synergy wasn't
Mhm.
quite there simply because the Mercenary came in, and I'd say you were kind of the designated Lucia player. You had Chips who wasn't quite as vocal, but was historically a Zen player, and then you have Cust who maybe fit the mold of a leader and sort of an in-game leader and main support, but was actually a flex support coming into the league. He was the flex support for Fnatic. So it was a very weird mold. And then this year you obviously have Closer, yourself, and Unko. How do you feel like Closer fit into the team, and did you feel like it made more sense with this trio?
Yeah, I think so. I think Closer is an amazing support. His mechanics is insane. Like I never see a Mercy that good or Lucio. So I think Closer individually is pretty fucking good, but like he need to improve his English, which is normal because he didn't speak English for a long time. And when he do that, he can actually communicate better and be better in general. Right now, it's hard for him to talk English in a very good level because he had to Overwatch is a fast game, so he has to communicate really fast, and he cannot do that yet. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of time. You need to practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is one of the most difficult things. Obviously, having worked with a Korean main support who has to communicate in English, very, very tough. Do you feel like he's made a ton of progress in that regard? Because it is, if you haven't played in an English speaking team, it's really, really difficult, I think, especially when you can't cheat because your roster beyond OG didn't really have a lot of Korean players. And what we had a lot in the Mayhem squad because there were so many Koreans, you could actually cheat in certain situations and communicate something in Korean. Uh, do you feel like you struggled a lot to adapt to a Western team, or?
uh, Not really. I think I mean, it's gonna take his time to have a pretty decent English to say whatever he feels like. There is some scenarios he wanna say something and obviously had to say it fast and he preferred to not say anything at all because he cannot. He's either afraid of making a mistake, like saying the wrong thing, or he doesn't say anything at all because he knows he's gonna say the wrong thing. So when he feels comfortable, he can just get one step forward and and communicate way better.
Mhm. And as you mentioned, you didn't expect a lot of playing time, but you actually did make your season debut in the previous stage, and you came in on Zen, which I would want to say that it was kind of an off role, but something you also mentioned before the season in that interview was that Era told you to actually practice flex support, presumably to be kind of an all around player. So would you say that stepping into that role, you were maybe even more comfortable on flex support in stage 3?
So yeah, Arrow told me to practice Señora and general flex support. So my Ana was pretty good already, but I never played Sunny stage or even scrims too much. So what happened? Pretty much, Anko got sick. I mean, not sick. Like his eyes has like problem, right? So he said like he couldn't play. He couldn't barely see. So I had to play. Arrow told me. So yeah, I pretty much have like 1, 2 days of practice. I don't remember. And I pretty much did the best I can. At least I'll have playtime with the Señora. You know, it's not. It's actually very difficult. But yeah, I think Señora or playing flex support. You know, I honestly like it more than playing main support. It's more fun, and I think it fits me even more than playing main support.
Yeah, I do feel like you were one of the players that was shoved into that main support role. You know, back in the day when everyone was forming teams, you just kind of got together the best players, and then everyone just picked their roles. And I think it feels like you kind of got shoved into that main support role. Obviously, you got to flex onto the soldier when when you guys were in Apex. But
Hmm.
do you feel like because of that, because of your mechanical prowess, you like Mercy didn't really fit you in season 1?
I don't think so. I think mostly because I didn't practice Mercy as much than other heroes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. I think if like for example, Mercy now is way better than was before. Obviously, it's just a matter of practice, you know. And if I want to take the time to practice that hero or another hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because to me, again, to me, like the biggest asset that you've had has always been your aim. And I guess to kind of bring a story, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this maybe a couple of years back when I was still playing, and I uh, asked you for a one-on-one, Lucio, and definitely don't do that, guys. So one of the most boring things you can do, playing each other one-on-one on Lucio. Okay, he's got to plug in his headset. All right, you good? I can't hear you right now. Oh, I can hear you now.
Some technical pros right there.
Okay.
No battery.
Uh,
Yeah, what's up? Gotcha.
which did you miss any of that?
Sorry, I couldn't hear anything actually. Like I was
Okay.
like,
So I was gonna say, because to me you've always been that guy with insane aim, obviously hailing from Team Fortress 2. And a funny story I wanted to share was the one time I invited you to do a one-on-one duel on Lucio way back in the day when I was still playing. And like I said, one of the most boring things you can possibly do, takes forever to kill someone, but I get absolutely smashed. And that's why to to me, that was like, wow, I have a lot of room to grow in the aim department. And then fast forward when I was coaching Misfits, and during the season 0, I think when they made that nerf on the jump, the scroll wheel, and all the
yeah.
Lucios were panicking, like, how am I going to move? This change is being made one day before the tournament. And I asked you how you felt about it, and you were like, I don't really wall ride anyway. Do
I
you remember
actually
that?
didn't worry that much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I do remember, but yeah, by then I didn't worry that much. I still think like uh, I don't know. It's in my opinion, there's two way to play Lucio, right? Which is aggressive or defensive, and pretty much obviously defensive, just staying with the team and just heal. But obviously the offensive will be like just looking for a boop 24/7, which a lot of players do that. But that not necessarily is the best. I don't think you need to worry as much as Lucio to be a good player or to do good plays. Like sometimes the best plays do nothing at all. Just stay there and be there for the team. That's it. And right now in this meta, it's not even Lucio anymore. It's just Mercy, Ana, or Senyara, Batiste, some weird shit. I don't know.
Hmm. So we'll definitely get to that part, like what the meta looks like right now. But just talking about your debut, like when you actually got the call, when Arrow came and talked to you that you're probably gonna have to play, what was going through your head at the time?
Um, I was happy. Like I finally can play one game, but like was kinda disappointed to me honestly, like not winning New Year Essential since it was really close. We were like 2-0 up and then we get reverse sweep. So that, in my opinion, was kind of disappointed. But like we don't have anything to lose. We're playing without Anko. I don't have playing time. thinking about it, it wasn't that bad as just losing 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, you guys started the first game you played was against Chengdu. You guys obviously lost at 4-0.
Mm.
Felt like a winnable game. Oh, what's going on with your camera? We got an
Hello.
yeah. Your camera just went green and it was like flashing green, but I think it's okay now.
My game.
Everything's falling apart on your end. But when I was oh, it's going green again. Well, whatever. Um, so what happened in that game was that I felt you guys have a decent chance because you went into the second map, you held them on Lunar, and then they got the fuller hold. And then after that, the wheels kind of came off. Well, what was your feelings heading into that game? Because obviously, Chengdu feels definitely as an opponent that is easier to beat in a vacuum than New York. But on the flip side, they are very difficult. Obviously, you're stepping in and you're not playing the goats meta, so you can't just like play behind shield and play ABC.
Yeah.
You're under so much pressure against Chengdu, which is why most of the set you were actually stuck on the Yan. What was kind of if you recall that match, what was your mind heading into it, and then afterwards?
Okay, so versus Chengdu, there is not much to say. Like that was my first game, and was a long time. But also, like I've been practicing in rank only, and I pretty much all I played was versus gods, right? And then Chengdu play something else.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I mean, I cannot say too much like in game, like string count wise, because I don't even know what we're playing that much. So I cannot, give a call to say, hey, we're gonna switch to this, and you know, no one did that neither in the New Year session match. So what happened? Chengdu was like, just overall like a stupid game. Like we just lost. That's it. Like there's not much to say. 4-0.
Hmm.
We get a stomp. That's it. But New Year Excelsior, we win winning 2-0, and then we was Hollywood, I think.
Yeah.
We lost Hollywood. We could win that map. We did the stupid mistakes, like for example, like Saria jumping to me on top of first point, attacking in Hollywood, and he just smelled me. Like I didn't know. I mean, I know that could happen. I know there is a possibility, but no one did that to me in scrims or even in ranks. So I was like, okay, that's something new. I mean, I know that that thing like I did that before. Oh, shit, my headset. There we go. So um, yeah, we lose Hollywood. Then we play what was it? Gibraltar, right?
Gibraltar, yeah, and you guys had
Yeah,
you needed to win one fight, and you had 4 minutes
yeah.
to win that fight.
Yeah, like I was even talking to Mickey about that. Like there was two options pretty much. Like it's either keep the ultimates and just do one big fight, which is easy, or um, just switch comps. For me, the most ideal will be switch comps. I don't think you should mirror uh your section in that composition because pretty much they are better they're better than us. They have more experience, and it's really hard to win that way. Plus, you think about it, the way we win the first two maps, it was with a different composition, right?
Hmm.
So if you just do random shit like double sniper or something else, you have way more chance to win. If we just switch, we pretty much win the match like 3-1. But we didn't, and then just everything fall apart after that.
Hmm. And I mean, it was the last game of the stage, I believe. It was kind of a rough pill to swallow, but you guys presumably didn't go into that game with a ton of expectations, right? And it must still
Yeah.
feel decent to walk. Obviously, bittersweet because you were in such a premium spot. Even heading into map 5, it was 1-1. It was doable. I think you guys ended up in a situation on Nepal where heading into village, they beat you with a May, and then you guys have to you swap to a poke comp, and anytime you swap into 6 ults, like you're just usually gonna get snowballed. What was the kind of the mindset of the team after that loss?
Um, maybe a bit of disappointed and a bit of angry because like we should won that game actually. But in my opinion, I just feel happy because I played one game, so that's the only thing I care about. I honestly don't think I would even losing like at that
Mm,
point. Like I was like, I started doing an interview with my Corey,
mhm,
our media guy, and I was like saying the classic shit. I was like, fuck this. I don't give a shit. I have fun. We lost, well, whatever. I don't care. I have fun. That's all I care about,
mhm.
and that's it.
So What do you feel like? Because obviously stage three was very rough for Dallas, dropped off a lot. You guys went even before, so going into that Excelsior game during stage three, you guys were I think 1-21 in maps or map score. Uh, what do you think was behind that kind of a drop off from the first two stages and heading into stage three?
Mm, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe it's a mix of everything. Like I think in Overwatch, uh, the most important thing to have in, well, yes, in Overwatch, is like trust in your teammates, and you have to trust your teammates in every situation, right? Otherwise, you're gonna lose. So I don't think we have that much trust each other right now, or I don't know. It's weird. Like after playing a stage, I mean, after playing the last game versus no, the first game versus Chendo, I feel like it was exactly the same feeling than playing in stage one. Like it was so weird. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it was really weird feeling. And I even told her that like it was really weird. I don't know. It's I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I actually don't know what's going on. I think trust could be one of the problems maybe, but I don't know. It's not just that. It's something else.
Yeah, I mean, trust is definitely a big thing. Do you feel like the scheduling also kind of caught up to you guys? Because obviously, two starting players sort of dropping out towards the end of the stage. You guys added Trill. He comes on to play. You have to incorporate a new player. Incorporating a new main tank, especially, very difficult.
Hmm.
Very late into the season. We did that with Florida back in. A couple of last season, and that was extremely tough because when you're taking out a main tank, especially if it's a main tank who communicates a lot, like your whole structure just kind of falls apart, and you almost have to
Hmm.
rebuild it, right?
Yeah. So Trill, he barely have playtime needed before playing the first game. I'm pretty sure. I think he have like actually like maybe 3 to 4 more days more than like of practice and more than me. That's it. It's kind of funny, like people hate him. It's like, oh, he fucking sucked, blah 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 blah, in the first game or whatever. Like, I think in my opinion he did pretty well since he barely play, and OG wasn't feeling well. It was feeling like he's gonna get burned around if he keep playing. So he asked Arrow for a break,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty good to have. Like, since I mean we're not doing pretty good anyway, so there's nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So better to play your rest and just be better for the next stage or whatever.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because that was obviously something that was addressed heading into this year, cutting down the games from 40 to 28, obviously more teams, so you can afford to do that. Uh, and that was essentially to kind of to give players more of a break. But especially if you make stage playoffs, it feels like you don't really have that time because you play the playoffs, maybe have 1 or 2 more days off, and that's it, right? How do you feel like in terms of, obviously you haven't played as much this year, so maybe it's difficult to gauge, but you're still in a team environment. How do you feel like that change has been, the scheduling change? Do you think that's helped at all with the burnout issues?
I think it helps a bit if you don't make it to the stage. If you make it to the stage, though, you're still fucked since you have to play the whole stage. Even more if you make it to the final, you have like 1 week of rest, pretty much, not that much. And that week you pretty much have to practice anyway, so it's like non-stop grinding. I don't know. It feels you need more time. Like the vacation is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how Blizzard is gonna do it. I don't even know if they want to do anything about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, heading into next year, I guess we can touch on it here as well. Is they are changing it in terms of removing the stage playoffs, but they are,
Hmm.
but you will still travel, right? Like you will travel a lot more. Your away games are actually going to be away games most of the time. So,
Hmm.
but there will also be more bye weeks, from what I understand. So. Uh, do you feel like that might help things, that you might have a couple of bye weeks, but then again you're traveling, you're changing time zones, presumably, like if I'm going to play a game in China, you kind of have the bye week right before then, and really the bye week isn't to relax, it's mostly to travel to that country, I imagine, and adapting to the time zone before you play, right?
Yeah. So like I've been traveling a lot since MB, and I tell you what, like jet lag is a big thing, and most likely it's gonna happen to all the players. And imagine if we had to go China, like or or Korea, whatever, like place like where it's actually far away. It's not like just 2 hours of travel. I don't know. Players are gonna get they're gonna get jet lag as shit, like super jet lag, and it's gonna be really bad. So in this scenario, where the sub player is when there is more like needed, because I mean, as a sub player, pretty much you don't have to do much. Just
Hmm.
chill, play rank, and that's it, or even watch games, whatever you wanna do. But yeah, the player's gonna feel like really, really tired all the time, and pretty much like they had to be in another country, different time zone, different people, whatever. It's gonna be weird for them at the start, but in my opinion, it's nicer to travel. It's nicer to visit places, see more culture, and try different stuff. But mentally and physically, I think it's gonna take a lot for all the players, honestly.
Do you feel like it might continue to shortening the careers of Overwatch players? The fact that it is such an ambitious project, you have to fly all around the world. Because even now, we see so many players retiring prematurely, like either losing the passion for the game or just straight up burning out. We obviously had Fisher retiring, a guy who. When I still had a ballot last year, I put him second in my MVP rankings, right? Like you would expect that type of a guy to have a 3-4 year career minimum and being at the top, right? But he ends up retiring. Do you feel like we might see more of that? I mean, you certainly see a lot of players complaining about the burnout.
I don't think that's the burnout problem. Like usually you can just take a break. Like for example, when the season is end, when the season ends, and that should be enough. Like for me, it was enough. For example, it's mostly like the lack of the track on the players. The coaches prefer to take someone else over because they think that player is not the right player, or because they don't like him as a player, or because they don't like something from him. It's not just himself, just the lack. Oh, sorry. The fuck, I cannot even speak English, I'm too tired. I'm sorry. Yeah, or I was saying like it's not it's not the burnout. It's the lack. Is there's no trust. If you don't trust a player as a coach, it makes no sense. Like I don't know. Like all the players want to be main play in the main roster all the time,
Mhm.
and if you don't trust them at all, like even to give them a chance or whatever to do that, that will never happen. So you will get burnout. You will hate life because you don't play, and you would, you
Mhm.
have to have a good mindset, and like just think that's your role being a sub player or whatever, and that's it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, if if a coach doesn't like trust you at all, and he decides to pick someone else before even give you a chance to prove yourself, which happens a lot. uh I'm not saying that's in my case. I'm saying like in a general scenario, it happens a lot. I feel like it's easier for them to pick someone from contenders and thinking it's gonna be the next Jonak than just like uh giving a guy a chance, or you know
Mhm.
so
Yeah, I mean, most of what you're saying is that obviously when you are on the bench, it's very easy to kind of lack purpose simply because I think a lot of teams in the Overwatch, I still think even teams that have a lot of staff. So you guys have one of the biggest coaching staffs in the league, I believe, and I still feel like even where you guys kind of set the bar, I think it's too low for all the leagues. I think you really need so much more staff for everyone, especially with these, 10, 11, 12 man rosters, simply because it's so hard to give everyone attention, right? And like you say, it's very easy to if you're sitting on the bench, just like, well, what am I doing? Like, if I don't get a
mm,
chance, maybe the meta doesn't fit me, and then I'm sitting on the bench for 3 stages. And I know that from a coaching perspective, it's also very difficult because especially if you're struggling a little bit, you have to commit so many resources into getting the team back on track that it's very easy to, I don't want to say neglect, like willingly neglect, but you just can't commit the same resources to the bench players. Do you feel like there's
Yeah.
any solutions? Do you feel like if teams would staff up a little more, maybe everyone would have a B team or everyone would have 12 players so that everyone scrims? Do you feel like that could potentially be the future, especially with the travel and how difficult it is to going to be to handle the schedule?
Maybe in the future with the next season coming up, since you
Mm-hmm.
have to travel a lot, it makes more sense because, like I said, the players are gonna feel like they're gonna feel exhausted. They're gonna feel so tired all the time. I'm pretty sure, and then maybe is when a sub player come in and then like you do something actually useful. But overall, it's really hard to keep the players happy. Like you're gonna have two teams pretty much. Play all the time each other or whatever. It's really hard. Like I think like obviously like London tried, couldn't work.
Well, Seoul is kind of
So
trying that, right, this year.
so yeah, I don't know about that actually, but Fisher for example just retired,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's not easy being in the bench. No one like it, and I don't know, man. It's a difficult life.
Mm-hmm.
I say that.
Mm-hmm.
It
But
doesn't matter you get the big bucks. It's just annoying as fuck to be sitting doing nothing.
mhm. But how do you handle it? Because obviously, it's very easy to get into those cycles where, well, there's no purpose. I might as well just retire. Whatever. Especially like you say with Fisher. He was a guy who was a superstar last year. Now he has to fight for
Mm.
playing time. Doesn't really play. Presumably, one of the reasons why he might have, who really knows? But presumably, one of the reasons why he ends up retiring. You're obviously like a bit of like a more mature person. Like you're 27, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
And I do feel like when you're a little more mature, you at least, because it's very easy to have sub players who are unhappy, kind of poison the well within the team. Just causing
Yeah.
problems. But it's very difficult, I think, to be an up. Again, very difficult to guess really. But looking at sort of how the Valiant rebuilt their season and seeing their bench players sort of supporting the team genuinely, like that feels that's sort of the dream. I think when you have sub players who are talking with the team, they're supporting them, they just want the best for the team. But I also think even in their shoes, I think if they get benched for 2 or 3 4 months, I think that positivity slowly goes down, and then you have to make sure you don't go from positive to neutral to being a detriment to the team, right? Like how do you how do
Destructive.
yeah, destructive, right? So how do you personally manage that as a player?
So as you say, when that easily happens is when you care too much. So if you care too much about being a soft player, you just lose your north. You just don't. Just I don't know. You're gonna be a toxic shit player, and for me, it's not my. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be a bad teammate. Uh, I'm more even if you're not playing, it makes no sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, what I did is just choose to not care. Just don't care at all. Just do your job. Play rank, whatever. See how it goes. It's boring as shit. I'm not gonna lie, but it is what it is. You don't, you know, you don't have to play rank 24/7. You just can watch the games or whatever, but it's still boring as heck. Anyway, I think I think being a best player is way more harder than being a main player. Not because like it's like pressure being a main player or whatever. As you don't have to do that much, but it's more likely like mentally. I think it could be way more exhausting. It's imagine it's like you are in home doing nothing 24/7. It would be the same feeling than me, like sure I'm playing a video game for 4 hours a day, like playing a rank, but come on, dude, it's not fun at all. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
I don't enjoy playing Hulk or Isa 24/7 in rank. It's annoying as heck. Like I don't learn anything. I just maybe a bit of mechanics every day, but it's not that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, you're correcting your headset once again. So, I presumably, because I was obviously a player, so I went through sort of the similar things where I eventually got benched. Then I had to like make a decision for my career and for my life, and I chose to go into coaching, even though I could have potentially pursued playing at least in contenders. It did feel like I was certainly good enough. But also personally, I felt like, well, I'm 24, 25. Even if I would make it to the league, I probably won't have a long career because my wrist was messed up anyway. So I think for all the players, it kind of comes to a point where like, well, uh, do I need to look for something else? Have you ever thought about this? Like, when is the transition going to come? Do you feel like you still
Yeah.
have that hunger to play? What is kind of your mindset? Do you want to stay within esports? What's kind of your outlook on the future of your career?
Yeah. So I pretty much have like one more year after this, and then I pretty much will like think about it in that way. But so far, I'm just expecting to retire after the next year. Anyway, like if I'm not the main player, I wouldn't play in Overwatch League at all, or even contenders. It feels like a waste. I don't care. It's not just, it's like you get money, but it's not worth it for your health. That's for sure. So I was thinking about just to stream after the next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be a bench player forever, and plus I'm gonna be 29, like
Yeah,
after pretty much like, yeah, after next year I'm gonna be 29. So I hear, for example, Musasa, a Portuguese player
yeah,
from a contender team, he tried from one or two Overwatch League teams, and one of them they say no because it was too old. It was
yeah,
too old, which is kind of fucking disappointed because the old doesn't matter. Like you can be as old as you want. It doesn't matter. Like if you have a skill, you have a skill. The only thing you can lose is reflexes, which as a tank right now you don't need that much. To play an Orisha shield in the ground, you need that much reflexes. Come on, dude. You don't need a fucking 10 years old guy to play that shit.
yeah.
It's not. It makes no difference. So since I'm gonna be 29 and I'm a bench player right now, my career is pretty much done at that point. So I just gonna stream and chill the next year probably,
Mm.
most likely.
So you're
I
not
mean
in,
next year after that. Sorry.
so you're not interested in contenders at all, trying to build yourself up, anything like that?
No, no. I will play in another team in Overwatch League if I get a main spot,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't like stay being a bench player, or I wouldn't um like, yeah, pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. When I was a player as well, and I departed from LG, I was kind of in a spot where even then I considered going into coaching immediately. Not because I couldn't get offers, I had offers, but I felt like if I can't compete. So this was even before the sub issues. Everyone just had 6 players on the roster. This was pre Overwatch League, and even then I felt like the only way I'm gonna join another team, even though there's still upside, like you make the Overwatch League, maybe you
Mm.
can make a lot of money. The only way I would stay as an active player is if I could join a team who'd actually had a legitimate chance to, like, through hard work, get to the number one spot, or at least top 5 in the world, right? So I had kind of a short list of maybe 5 teams that I would be interested in joining at that point, at that time, and Misfits, fortunately was one of them, so it kept my career going a little bit longer. But yeah, I can definitely relate with that type of mindset where, like, if you can't be, especially for you who's had such an illustrious career, who has won so much, it feels like it's difficult to kind of rewire, right, and just go, like, take a step down at this point.
Mm, yeah, but yeah, like I say, like when my contract is done, I will
Yeah,
probably do it. But right now, like I pretty much like I think it's pretty far to say like
yeah,
I need the money. So
yeah.
um, I choose to be a. I mean, I don't choose. Like I'm a sub player. I do my job all the time. I try to help the players in every situation they can.
Hmm.
Uh, like in real life or inside the game, So
Hmm.
as long as I do my part, I think it's fine. But like I say, like when my contract is gone, we're just gonna go back to Spain and stream. Or it is that, or either I'm a main player or I'm a main player for another team.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I'm gonna go back home, which is gonna be hard because I'm gonna be 29, like I say, and people care about that shit. So
Hmm. So is streaming something
more
you've thought
likely,
about a lot? Is it something you really enjoy?
yeah, yeah. It's really fun. Like I just playing random shit games and having fun. Plus, I can chat with people, so that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Anyway, like I don't think I will play Overwatch that much in Europe.
Hmm.
I feel it's pretty bad. So I wouldn't waste my time on that. I don't care. Just about just having viewers at the start. I have to enjoy what I do, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to play Overwatch and the game is shit in Europe, because people, they play random things or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Coco told me about it, and it's something I don't want to do. That for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like potentially we can transition this into the 2-2 log? Do you feel like the 2-2 log could potentially change this and make the game more fun, especially playing ranked and streaming the game?
Yes and no. Wait one sec. There we go. Yeah. Yes, because 2-2 I think is gonna help the team. Help the game a lot. Like the role lock, like playing 2-2, you just can play whatever you want, and you even have your own SR to play. Like TPS, support and tank, which is pretty nice. I think it's a very good idea from Blizzard. But no, because the problem with this is everyone is playing the same comp right now, which is Orisa Hawk and maybe double sniper with different supports all the time. But it's most likely that comp. Uh, the problem with that is everyone is gonna emulate what the players do in Overwatch League. So if the
Yeah.
teams play Orisa Hawk, everyone in rank is gonna play the same shit, right? It happens with Goats, and even if when Goats wasn't the best comp, because you see some guy won a stage
Yeah.
with a DPS comp, which is pretty funny to me. But the thing is, like, if all of them in Overwatch League they play the same shit, which is Orisa Hawk, what's gonna happen is everyone's gonna play the same things in rank, right? Which is gonna be really bad and really, I don't know. It's gonna be exactly the same spot. The only thing is gonna change. Maybe you play May, another DPS instead of like, the classic things. But
Hmm.
always the main is gonna be the same, or it's a Hawk 24/7, or most likely like 90% of the time.
Hmm.
And you don't want to see that. It's boring as heck. You just imagine just waiting for the hook, like for the hook and pulling all the time. Blah 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 blah. Come on, dude. It's so boring.
Hmm.
And the other composition is with Orisa Diva, which is pretty much the same. Just spamming shells, maybe getting picks. As long as Widow doesn't pop off, I suspect, you're watching a game, in Overwatch League, and the player is a hog, I don't know, or Diva Orisa with double sniper or whatever. As long as Widow or Hanzo doesn't have a good pick, and they start to pop off, it's gonna be boring to watch that. So
Hmm.
I hope for someone like, I know dive is a good way to counter that, obviously, but no one's wanna try that because it's really hard to do it, right?
Yeah.
So once again, it's the same scenario than than the last stage, right? Like when some guy come in and destroy everyone with DPS come. Uh, if someone else is trying something else, I honestly would cheer for them, because it's respect. Like,
Yeah.
it's the only team who's gonna try to do something else, and probably it could be like high reward, in the end, like Shanghai,
Yeah.
because it's a fact. I'm pretty sure that, like, dive is a better come against that. Makes sense, but it's really hard to counter. Like, it's really hard. So if someone is gonna take the time for it, cool. Most likely, it's not gonna happen.
Hmm. I mean, for sure, like in ranked, obviously, everyone reverts to what the easiest thing to execute
Yeah.
is, which is definitely going to be the Orisa. Um, do you feel like with these changes, because obviously there was a patch beyond the 2-2 lock. Do you feel like what do you feel like the meta is going to be in the Overwatch League? Obviously, it's difficult to predict, but do you feel like, because obviously Overwatch League, even when Bunker became meta in ranked, Goats was still super prominent in Overwatch League, right? Do you feel like
Yeah.
Bunker is gonna really take the spotlight, or do you feel like Dive is gonna be back, or Double Sniper? Obviously, I saw someone tweet that that's what it's leaning towards, Dive and Double Sniper. What do you think the meta is gonna look like at this stage?
I think the meta is gonna be more likely just an Orisa com with something around that. So, for example, it could be Orisa Diva, it could be Orisa Hawk with double sniper, Orisa Diva with double sniper, or, I don't know, Orisa May with the Hawk, stuff like that. It's like weird things. Like, no one knows yet, but most likely it's gonna be some type of Orisa com. And then my bet of countering that is a dive combat. Like, imagine having a May Orisa. It's really hard to it's really hard to dive against that, right? So I don't know how really you can do it. Maybe with a Pharah and just popping off. I don't even know, but
Hmm.
I just hope someone do that because everyone in Ryan is gonna play the same shit, and I don't want to see that
Hmm.
because I had to play that. So
Yeah, exactly. So what did you think about that patch? Because obviously it's very difficult to patch a game when you implement a role lock, and but you don't have anything to go off of, so you can't really balance the game, right? Because if you think about it, the patch between stage 1 and stage 2, what happened? They nerfed pretty much every ghost character, hoping it would go away. And then now that you implement 2 to 2 log a couple of stages later,
Hmm.
well, those heroes are just kind of, well, Reinhardt got a bit of a buff, but the rest of the heroes are kind of uh, a little screwed over in a sense, almost. Um, but what did you think about the patch? You know, the biggest things being the global ultimate changes, the Brig rework. I think those were the biggest one, and like slight Sombra nerfs. What did you think about those changes? Do you think those are
Okay,
good enough?
so the Summer nerf, with the ultimate when it's casting like this and it takes like 1 second,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty nice. It gives you more time to do something.
Hmm.
What else? Yeah, that's one. The ultimate charge, I think is pretty nice. I want to see more, skill involved and just ultimates, all the time. So that's another good step. But overall, I think nerfing. Brigitte also, by the way. Yeah, they try to make it like full support. I don't know if that's a step. Like no one is gonna pretty much play Brigitte that much. And now since they nerfed it as much, like it has a 200 shield.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna do with that. Like you don't have you don't have nothing. Like it's barely nothing at all. So I think nerfing heroes that much is wrong. It's like taking a step backwards. Like for example, when I start to play Lucio, I enjoy it that much because he can 1v1 a McCree, He can
Hmm.
actually 1v1 a McCree, which is insane, It's like, one McCree dying by a Lucio? What the fuck? That guy's a feeder, But that's actually the Lucio who's popping off. Like,
Yeah.
right now, doing that is really hard. You
Yeah.
can barely do it. Or maybe not at all. So I think I miss like all Overwatch with the all OP heroes, Because everyone is OP except Doomfist when they release it, which is what's too much.
Yeah.
But if you have everything OP, there's no way it's gonna be something bad. Like there's no unbalance when everything is OP. It's
Hmm.
impossible because everything is that OP, then everything works.
It's like the old Lucio during beta, where his projectile size was pretty much twice as big as it is now, so it was almost impossible to miss. Like where you would just shoot it and it would hit. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it sounds stupid, right? But just think about it. Like if everyone is OP, how it can be unbalanced? Like every character will be good in his own in his own way, right?
Mm, yeah. So going back to Sombra, do you feel like because I haven't had a chance to try it, but that little hitch, that time that it takes to get the EMP off, does that
Mm.
give you enough time to react with the trance? Because usually before
Nah.
it was kind of like you have to guess that he's gonna EMP and you have to pre-trance. Does it give you enough time now or no?
Yeah, it gives you another time. Even hook, Hawk can actually hook you
Mm.
now in time. If it's like in a good distance,
Hmm.
you can actually react to it now. I think it's a pretty smart move from Blizzard.
Yeah.
But once again, like I don't think you're gonna see as much somewhere right now in Overwatch League. So I don't think it makes any difference.
Hmm. So also in terms of Brig, because when I saw those changes as well, I tried to think about it like how is it going to be used? Because they wanted to make her more of a main healer, but I really don't see. Because if you think about it, like how has Brigitte existed? She's existed in 3 support brawl compositions because she can put so
Mm.
much pressure on the objective and she has the rally. With the 200 HP shield, she can't really put
Yeah,
pressure on point on her, because you would think, well, maybe if you play a pharmacy
yeah,
composition with flankers, maybe she's the one that pressures the point while Hammond and everyone else is creating space. But really, who will she beat in a duel? Like the stun time is down, the shield is down. You can easily beat her in one-on-ones now, I feel like. The shields are kind of nice, which is why I thought maybe you can make it work in kind of Lucio Brig super dive lineup where you didn't need a lot of heals. You like put it on a Doomfist and you keep stacking it on the Doomfist and he just pops off, like something crazy like that. But I don't really see, because if you play slow compositions, Batista does everything better, in Bunker or Mercy Zen or
Yeah.
Mercy Ana. Like all of them have so much more in their kit than the Brig does, right?
Yeah, I think one way to play Brigitte uh, right now with that nerf, I think it will be like diving in because like you wouldn't play main healer Brigitte. Like, what is the point?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, you can do that, but you still have to dive in. Otherwise, like, it makes no point. You would play an Ana or a Mercy, like something with like more heals or even a Moira. Like you can just. I think right now maybe with that nerf you can just go in with the Brigitte and have a Lucy also. So I have main healer at Brigitte and then just some dive is come and
yeah,
then just dive in with the Brigitte and Lucio. That's it. That's the
yeah.
only way I see Brigitte working. Otherwise, like I don't think you can do as much, or it makes there is better healers for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat. Like that's the only way I saw her getting played. Well, who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe she's hitting OP, but I doubt it.
Maybe I don't know.
I
Like
mean, the Inspire heal is a lot, but my issue is just like how do you trigger the Inspire? If you're playing against a bunker composition, you're never really gonna use it,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
maybe
Most likely,
yeah,
most likely you're gonna play versus a bunker composition, so you have to think a way to
yeah,
to get Brigitte in
yeah,
because otherwise it's gonna be just spamming healing from far away. That's it.
yeah. Um, Another new change that dropped yesterday. Siegel obviously got to try Sigma. He put it on
hmm
PTR on his birthday. Initial thoughts? Did you get to test him at all? See his abilities?
I pretty much like Mickey. I mean, I was watching in like when Mickey like saw it. Like, I was doing in the practice range, so I saw all of it. But I don't think Sigma's gonna counter the the current meta, which is in Overwatch League.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's not going to be there for stage 4 anyway, right? So it's just kind of, like, it does it have any competitive viability? Like, do you see it serves towards stage maybe going into the playoffs if they release it for like who does he synergize with? First of all, Jeff obviously said that it's a main tank. Like, I personally don't see it as a main tank. What are your thoughts in terms of competitive viability?
I think. I mean, it has 1.5k shield and a very good DPS and a lot of sustain because of shield.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you can play really aggressive with a hero. I think just hold close distance and try to dive in with some good compositions. I think you can do a lot because like you have so much sustain with that hero. It's insane. So you maybe you have like what is it called? Oh shit! Like so it's gonna be 2-2, maybe a diva or even a Hammond. And yeah, I think a Hammond, that character, like Hammond Sigma, like Sombra Tracer, I don't know, Moira, Lucio, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I use him as a DPS also, so you have 3 DPS plus a Moira. I think could be something,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's gonna be like you're not gonna use it like I mean, also, well, I guess you can use it as a second shield. You can use like even a Bastion go
yeah,
with that with a Reinhardt or
yeah.
Orisa. Like it's a lot of stun, a lot of shield, but I don't know if that's gonna work. Like people had to try him out, see what he can do, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think it's gonna change anything, honestly.
yeah, because I mean, when I saw the kid and I thought about it, because even the compositions that you mentioned now, it would basically put him as an off tank, right? Like you're mentioning compositions with other main tanks, which is kind of how I see it as well. Because if you think about it, what defines an off tank, or sorry, a main tank? So if you look, there's two categories. There's the dive category, which is Hammond and Winston. They jump in, they pull the resources out of the enemy team, they create space in that way.
Mm.
This
Yeah,
guy completely falls out of that kind of composition because he just has no mobility, right? Like if he at least had the Batiste jump and he could get on high ground, it would maybe be a little bit different. But he has nothing. He's ground bound, so that kind of falls off. So the question, this is if we're considering him as a main tank. So he's definitely not that type of main tank. So the second type of main tank is the Orisa or the Reinhardt. Like they are good because they have a shield. They can anchor down a point and buy time on the point, or on the flip side, on the attack, pressure the objective, but go on it, and
Yeah.
then you have a shield there, right? Like, so if you think about Sigma in that category, does he really work? It's difficult for me to say because
No.
it doesn't feel like it does, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't feel like like a substitute of a Reinhardt, you know? Like it has 500 more speed a shield than a Reinhardt, but it's still like it's not the same, you know? Like it's not the same mobility than a Reinhardt, like staying on the point or an Orisa, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it will work that way. It will work more as an up tank, you know, finding a dive with something, or
Yeah.
even a double shield composition with a
Yeah.
Reinhardt or Orisa maybe.
Yeah.
More than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to
Exactly.
say.
Yeah. So really, to me, it sounds like you agree that he's more of an off tank with whom you can dive. So you have someone diving in, and then he needs the speed boost. So the only way he's gonna either exist in quick compositions in which he needs Lucio. Like Zarya can't really exist without a Lucio either, right? So he's another one of those heroes that needs the speed boost, or in very slow compositions with a double shield. And I do think that's actually going to be pretty viable if you think about it. Like, how can you can't really play poke compositions into that, right? You even like if Pharah is spamming from an off angle, you can actually shield from that angle. So, and then buy time for your Orisa to replace another shield. So I feel like there might be a lot of compositions that are really good if you play them like that potentially, or even put it on an off angle. Like, let's imagine, say we're playing Hanamura first point, Orisa is anchoring on defense first point, she's anchoring the main platform, and then maybe you put a shield and the Widow on the opposite side. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't really poke it out. You kind of have to dive, but then you can't place snipers into that either because the Widow is gonna have a second shield. Like, it might have some viability in that regard potentially, I think.
Yeah, that's actually a nice way to see it. I didn't think about it. Like having a Widow with a shield or a Hanzo like far away,
Yeah.
would be something. Would be actually scary, but it's still like
Yeah.
I don't see more ways to play that hero. But
Yeah.
I would like to see diving though. I don't know. I think it has
Yeah.
so much damage and so
Yeah.
much things like I don't know. It would be scary. I want to see that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he does feel like he has, because he can't play long range compositions and, reach optimal. That's why, he can't really function as a main tank, because if he's just anchoring down a point and you're poking him down, eventually he's going to run out of shield and then he can't do anything because he's kind of a mid range hero. But if you can close that distance with the Lucio, then yeah, I mean, he can one shot 200 HP targets. He can actually absorb a ton of damage as well and pull out a lot of cooldowns if he's within range, if he's in the middle of them. So that would be an interesting composition actually to see in action. Maybe when he comes out, so you can kind of force it in rank and see how it goes. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see if he can adjust. Is there any, speaking of like new heroes, is there any type of new hero you think would be good in Overwatch?
Like if it can choose the skills, you mean? Like
Yeah, like or any type of hero that would make the game a little healthier.
I don't know. I think right now the problem is the shields.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe if you get something, I don't know. Maybe it could be way too OP though. But just having a hero to remove the shield overall, so people. But the problem with that is like maybe if you do that, then no one will play like Reinhardt or Reese anymore or whatever, right? He will play like some Dive Scum or something to hold with different. I don't know. I will do something like around the shield, like either not just a new hero, just I don't know, like nerfing shields in general. Like I feel they're way too strong, and I don't know, you have to spam so much. Like Orisa has 2k shield, spamming that shit, I don't know, and it has 8 seconds of cooldown, you know.
Yeah. Well, 9 now. It's been nerfed.
Well, 9 with a new patch, yeah, but yeah, has to come out. But these days,
yeah. Well, I mean, the reason that they're so OP is basically, what Monty mentioned, and which is very true in Overwatch, is the fact that you only have one objective to fight for at any point in time, right? Like there's only one point that hybrid, control, payload, whatever it may be, you only have one objective, which means that just anchoring around that objective is always going to be a viable strategy. If you think about Team Fortress 2 on 5 CP,
Yeah,
yeah, sure,
you
put
can
your
do
Orisa,
that.
but you're going to get backcapped, right? Like you can't do that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
need
exactly,
new
exactly.
ability. Yeah.
That actually a cool idea. Like imagine having that mode in Overwatch. You
Do
know,
you think it would
like
work?
5 CP. I mean, for sure. Like, what you gonna do? Send a Pharah to capture the point while there is standing the other one? Like,
Oh,
I think it could work. Like, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same then in TF2, right? Like, imagine having like half of the team in one side and having another half in the other team. Like, but what doesn't matter. Like, two scouts come in and kill you. you know,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying, right?
yeah,
It makes no difference. Like, I think that would be an insane idea. Like, I
yeah,
don't know. I will love that. I would
yeah.
love to see that.
Yeah, a different game mode, but really, like as far as the game
Yeah.
design goes, it's difficult to change it now because the 4 game modes that are in place, they're all around just one objective. So it feels
Yeah.
like it's
Like,
kind of difficult to implement.
for example, 2CP, I still don't know honestly why 2CP is there. Like, no one like it. Everyone say that there is two more CPs coming out. Like, it feels like Blizzard don't care for some reason. I don't know. It's like it's such a boring map to watch or to play. Really, it's really boring. So as a viewer, if I'm watching, like, I don't want to see that. Like, it's
Mhm.
boring. Like, I want to see something that entertains me. Like, I want to see a guy killing everyone. I want to see, I don't know, like, doing something crazy. Something unexpected.
Yeah,
But in GCPs, I don't know, really happen, right? Like,
yeah. I think the biggest issue is, and one that the biggest issue as I see it, and that I really don't like, is the fact that if Blizzard forces this best of 4, or like playing all 4 game modes, I really don't think that's good. I feel like you should have a map pool, and then you should have kind of a map draft, or like loser picks, and you can pick from any map. I think that would be better. Or maybe you ban a couple of maps, like implement kind of a system where, okay, this is our map pool of 16 maps. Before the start, both teams can ban 2 of each, let's say. So you can't ban out an entire game mode, and then you kind of go, right. So and then loser picks. I think it would be much more interesting. It would be add another element, because this is something I really, there's not a lot of depth in terms of analysis heading into the game. You're going to play which maps you're going to play. You know which players. There's not much to analyze. Whereas I think pre-game it would be very interesting to analyze. Oh, what was their map draft? What are the stats and the snaps? Why are they banning out this map? Oh, they're banning out all the control maps simply because the other team is really good on control. So they're
yeah,
maximum going to play it once. Like, you're adding a different element, right? Like that was one of the best things I thought back in the day in Overwatch and in the early days. No.
yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I don't think they can ban heroes yet because there's not many. But
Yeah.
for example, if you ban heroes, you think about it, like, you need such a big hero pool.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what you play, main support, flex, tank, off tank,
Yeah.
DPS. You need a huge hero pool because if they want one of those, like, you need to know, or you need to learn how to play another composition, right?
Yeah.
For example, let's say I don't know, I ban Orisa, right? And the other team is forced to play with a Reinhardt. They play that comp 24/7. No, maybe they choose to do dive, or
Yeah.
something else. I
Yeah.
don't know. It would be something. It would be cool, but that would never happen. Like, I don't think in this, like, I mean, not in this season because it's pretty much over, but not even in the next one. But batting maps should be something that should be easy for them, and it makes no difference, right?
Yeah.
Like, the only thing what could happen is, like, no one wanna play 2CP, so everyone wants 2CP, you know. But it's something normal, It's not our fault. We hate the shit map. We don't like it. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I do feel like it would be more interesting for the fans because you have something more to analyze. I think it would be more interesting for everyone. Like the pre-game preparation would be more fun. You could have perma bans to the point where we're scrimming against a team and like, no, we're not going to play that map because that's our perma ban. That's what we're trying to ban, and then you're practicing different maps. I think it would be fun. You would have like home maps that you would always play. Maybe you'd have like 4 maps that you're really really good at, and then you're trying to get those. You could find different ways in which you can get really good, maybe a really good hybrid and escort team, and then they can only ban out 2 of those maps, and then you have the other 3, right? So it would be very interesting to have that implemented, but or at the very least have kind of best of 5s, because it is brutal, I think, to watch a team go down 3-0 and then playing that 4th map. I think that's brutal.
Yeah, like even in the chance they did to in Disciplina, like
Yeah.
if you die to avoid snowball, you just spawn pretty much instantly, right?
Yeah.
Which is okay, I guess, to stop a snowball, but it's still like if you get it actually really snowball, the other team's gonna make so many ultimates and you're gonna still get a snowball anyway.
Yeah.
Most likely. But yeah, I don't know. I hope CCP just die, honestly. I don't care. It's boring.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, they've been honestly like heading into stage 4. I never thought that they would actually, even if they would implement 2-2, I never thought it would happen mid-season, because it's such a drastic change to the game. I
Yeah, it's
never
massive.
ever, I never ever thought they would do that mid-season. But obviously,
I honestly like I don't know what they're doing right now with the new balance patches and like for example the
oh, you froze. Looks like Mr. Harry disconnected. All right, so unfortunately, we ran into more technical difficulties. The power went out in Harry's building. We tried calling him on his data plan. Voices were robotic, couldn't really do anything about it. So unfortunately, the podcast ends a little bit early there. We were gonna round off pretty soon anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoy the podcast. Anyway, follow HarryHook at HarryHook. Give me a follow. As always, you can listen to this podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms. Just look up Tempo Shift and you should be able to find it. And thanks for listening.